Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Digital Studio. I am your man out of Japan, Jay Contra, and today we are going to learn how to read a label at Friends. Now, if you don't know, Friends is probably one of my top two favorite retro video game shops in Japan. You can find it only in Tokyo. It's a tiny little shop. It's it's a family business. It's absolutely incredible. It is probably like the best experience you will have buying video games in Japan. It's on the edge of Akihabara. It's like a 8-10 minute walk from the main train station that's there. It's actually right next to a subway station. But the thing about Friends is that the English support that they offer is very limited, and I don't actually know if the shop owners themselves speak English, but basically nothing that you're going to find there is going to be in English. And so when you see hopefully can you see this? Actually, no, you can't see my mouse pointer anyways. But when you see this label, it can be really intimidating and you're not really going to know what's going on. I'm here hopefully to demystify what's going on with this label, as well as to better inform you about how to buy video games at Friends. So this is something that you'll find on every game there, I'm pretty sure, from like the Famicom up towards the PS2 games that they have. So let's take a look at this. I should say that the game that I took this label was on a Castlevania Circle of the Moon, the Game Boy Advance game. So that's gonna make things a little bit more different than if it was a CD-based game. So if you look at the top left, at the very top, we've got the box. Now, this is just describing the box that just holds the game. And you can see also it's got 4 different ratings. You've got A with the apostrophe, B, and C. Now, A with the apostrophe, I think what that means is it's more of like an A minus. It's like it's not perfect, but it's not like B. Now you can see I bought the C grade here because I don't really care that much about condition. When you see how Friends actually grades its condition, I'd say that Friends is probably the strictest in Akihabara next to Mandarake, who would probably, yeah, top level. If it's got like, so the box that I had, or the box that this game came in that was rated a C was like, it was fine. It had some edge wear. It had a little dent in the like the lip for, you know, what the lid or whatever that opens so you can actually pull the tray out. Other than that, it was fine. There was no real issues that I had with the game, and that was rated as C. So think about that's like the trash game that Friends considers as trash, compared to what you might find at, say, like a GameStop or like any other sort of large used reseller in the States. Going down to the next item, we have manual, the Setsumeisho. This is just going to be your basic, just manual, a C grade from what I had. There was a couple of waves in the pages because that's what happens to games in Japan because of the high humidity. I had no issues. There was not even I don't think there was any rips or tears. There was a couple of folds in the manual. Otherwise, it was perfectly fine. That's what they considered a C. Then we get to the next, and this is actually going to when you look at what's beneath the manual, when you have ROM. This is actually going to change depending on the game. If it's a CD-based game, I believe it's just going to say like the surface of the game. It's actually going to be talking about, is it going to have any scratches? For like ROM cartridges, like what's up with the label? How is the plastic? Because with ROM cartridges, you've got all kinds of different things that could be going wrong with the cartridge. It could be yellowing. It could be and that could either be because just the natural yellowing of basically all white plastics, due to, I think, some kind of chemical that's in the plastic is just going to yellow with age. It could also be yellowing from exposure to the sun, which is quite common in Japan, as well as fading due to smoking, which is also very common with retro games in Japan, because I think smoking definitely back in the 90s was way more common in Japan than it was than what you would expect in other countries. So this is just talking about the actual physical game itself. Then you go down to the inserts. I don't know if this is the best word I could come up with it, but this is basically the things that are included with the game. Is there anything that is missing? Now you'll see on the left, it means the thing that is circled on this particular one means that there's nothing missing from this game. On the right, if it was circled, that means that something is missing, and they'd probably right beneath this would write what is missing. Now, what is exactly included with the game can be a variety of different things, and depending on the store, they might determine the completeness of a game differently. So for a lot of games, I think basically even up to like the PlayStation 2, maybe even the PlayStation 3 era. So I'm talking like Famicom, Super Famicom, N64, PlayStation 1, and all the adjacent systems. Those came with usually, I don't want to say always, but possibly always, because I don't know. There's probably one game that didn't come with it. But these games usually came with a little postcard that was 9 times out of 10 like a survey that you would like write down your thoughts. You would circle some numbers, and you would send that in to be entered into like a prize drawing. Now, this. I don't know about Friends, but I definitely know that Trader does not include that as being a complete game. Basically, at the most basic level, a complete game is box, manual, game. Now, there are, of course, also going to be some certain accessories depending on the game. Like when you think about like Heart Gold, Soul Silver, the Pokemon games for the DS. There were Pokewalker editions of those. I actually don't know if it was ever sold without a Pokewalker. But if there's anything that is supposed to be with the game, that is like just obviously supposed to be with the game, and it's missing, they will mark it down. Some non-obvious things would again be the postcard. I think some Super Famicom games, like especially the Nintendo ones, they had like a little insert that had like a little. It's beautiful artwork, but it has like a layout of the controls with some really cool illustrations on them. A lot of Nintendo games like Famicom, Super Famicom had a little insert telling you to unplug the Famicom or Super Famicom when you're not using it, because I think the AC adapter is still pulling electricity even if you don't have the system turned on. A couple of others, I think there were some inserts that talked about proper CD care with some games. I don't believe those are necessary to be considered complete, so I don't think they're going to be listing that as missing if it doesn't have it. At least that's been my experience. So we've gone through sort of the left side. Now, what does it say on the right? Now, this is actually kind of a big deal. Although maybe not if you're actually visiting Japan. So what it says here is if you start up the game and it's not working, you have within a week from purchase you have to bring both the make sure you keep the apparently you need to keep this sticker on your box, as well as you need to bring the receipt back to the store. And then what they'll do is they'll check the game, and if it's not working, then they'll either exchange or give you a refund. I believe Friends is cash only. And obviously, if you end up leaving the country, say you're just visiting and you end up leaving to go back, then you're sort of out of luck. Now, the thing about Friends is all of the games that they have out on the show floor, they're all tested. They all should be working, but obviously things happen. Batteries go dead, or maybe the contacts just, maybe a game is out for so long that the contacts stop working for whatever reason. Maybe they'll end up cleaning it for you. Maybe that'll end up getting it to start working. And if it's working on their systems, maybe it's your system that's not working. That's also entirely possible. But otherwise, you can feel, they do have a kind of guarantee on all of their games. I don't think they actually sell any junk games. Whereas like places like Super Potato and even Surugaya, I think will sell junk stuff. I don't think Friends sells junk stuff at all, from what I remember. Otherwise, Friends is just a really phenomenal place to go. I recommend anybody who is going to Akihabara to go there. I mean, even if you're just in Tokyo, I would literally just go to Akihabara just to go to Friends, because it is so good. Friends has, like, I think even just the widest selection of any shop that I've ever seen, and just weird stuff. It's very curated. It's very you just see stuff there that, for one, you're not going to see anywhere else. For two, the prices are going to be cheaper than most everywhere else, but that's not always the case. Um, but I cannot speak about Friends highly enough. If you need to have this picture with the translations on it, I will have this up on my website, jcontra.com. And I will also have a more written out explanation, basically just a written version of this video if you need to access it on your cell phone when you're in the country, when you're actually in the shop. Although the thing about Friends is what you need to be careful is they have a very strict like no using cell phone policy. They're very against like people like, you know, doing comparison shopping or taking videos in there. So be very careful. Maybe read this before you go into the shop so that you know what you're looking at. Otherwise, just to say it again, their grading is pretty strict to the point where I would pretty much just buy anything that's C grade there because it's still going to be in fine enough condition for me. But of course, it's going to depend on you. I don't know if they actually have another category for the Obi. So going back to what we consider complete, another part of being a complete CD-based games, so like Dreamcast, PlayStation, Sega Saturn, that kind of era of games, is the Obi or the spine card, which goes onto the edge of the CD jewel case. That is necessary to be considered complete, and that can also be graded. Actually, no. Usually, it's not graded on like the A to C scale, but it is. However, they'll tell you if it's damaged, and if it is damaged, then that will knock off some of the price. Otherwise, I can't think of anything else that would be on this label besides the Obi, and if this was a CD-based game or a disc-based game, instead of saying ROM, it would say like the condition of the disc itself. But even if it has some scratches on it, they'll have tested it and it will be working. Otherwise, I think that's pretty much all we can get out of the label right now. If you have any questions, please leave a comment on this video and I'll try and get back to you. And if you have any questions about shopping for video games, Japanese video games in general, always feel free to leave me a comment. I have been your man out of Japan, Jay Contra, saying thanks for watching, see you next time, and mahalo.